evening, everybody, and welcome to Shreve Memorial Library Author Chat Series, where we showcase our very own local authors as we appreciate their work. Shreve Memorial Library is hosting the Author Chat Series each first Thursday of every month. Tonight's chat is the second in the series as we present local author, preacher, actor, writer, director, and producer Demario Tyson, author of Whispers Dancing in the Dark Winds. Everybody, I know that you're going to have some questions for tonight. If you place your questions in the comment box, we will ask them. We are so excited to have Mr. Mario here with us tonight. Mario, tell us about yourself, the book, the journey, and what inspired you to write this book.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Ivy. It's so good to be here. Thank you, Shreve Memorial Library, for doing this and doing this for our community, showcasing the talent here in Shreveport, Louisiana. Who would have ever thought we had so much talent, but we do right in this area. And we're so grateful for the opportunity that you have allowed us to have to share on tonight. So thank you for having me. Thank you for moderating on tonight. I'm just excited about this book, and truly who I am. I'm definitely a child of the King. That's first of all who I believe to be. I am a believer in Jesus Christ, and so everything that I do as relates to that call. As you saw in the bio, I'm preacher, producer, director, writer, and actor as well. Got my degree in acting, my first degree, if you would, in acting. And so all that came through just realizing the talents that I had, that God has given me. And so I just branched out and did so. And this book was inspired. I don't know if there was much of an inspiration as much as just knowing, and I think we're going to get into that, but just knowing what we face in the world is spiritual. And so just knowing that, I decided to write a fictional story that kind of tells us what we deal with, what we know realistically. But it's really a fictional story that just basically tells us what we know.
Yes, and I understand that you've got some supernatural things that are going on in the book. Can you tell us what that is as it relates to the story?
Sure. You see the titles is Whispers in Dancing in the Dark Winds. So what you're going to find, I don't want to give too much of the book away, because if you have not read it, I definitely want you to get the book to read. But of course, what you will find in the story is definitely supernatural beings that are basically a play off what we know as demonic beings, even what we know through Christianity. And so it's just a play and a fictional tale, but it's really based off those. And it came through the scripture, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of the world. And then that's what you're finding in this book.
Now, the other thing that we noticed, that the plot of the story is located in Carlsbad, California. How did you prepare to tell a story with that Carlsbad, California culture?
Sure. I love the beach. I'm always trying to get to the beach. So I can tell you this, I thank God for, I'm going to say this too, thank God for my wife, Nikisha Tyson. She's on tonight. She's been such a blessing. So I'll tell you that that's how I even heard about Carlsbad, California. She had to go there for a training as a certified etiquette consultant. And so took the trip out there. And that's where we actually became engaged. I asked her to marry me out on those beaches out there in that area. And so I got a lay of the land, if you would, the first time. And then a couple of times more, we had to go out there. And so that's how I learned about that area of Carlsbad, California. And so I decided, because I needed a beach area for this story to really pop, and I said, I know a place. And that's how it became to life, put it that way, in this book.
Tell us about the character Detective Leo Shanks. How did you develop his character, and what are his unique investigative skills?
Let me tell you, Detective Shanks is one of a kind. If you read the book, you probably been just torn back and forth, like, what is going on with this guy? He is something else. And I think that's very important in writing when you develop characters, to really have that depth. And I think you're going to find that with Detective Shanks, that he has so many layers to him, so many things that he's dealing with, because in life, we are dealing with different things. And that's how we're able to connect with the story, is to be able to see ourselves or see somebody else. You probably know a Detective Shanks. Now, I can tell you that that as far as his character and me developing him, wasn't really an inspiration from anybody else that I knew, but just kind of developed him knowing what I needed to happen for the story. And so that's how his character came about. I wanted him to be able to resonate with someone, because I know he is someone. He's someone that he dealt with his loss, but he wasn't dealing with it, if you would, in a healthy way. And that's the case with many of us. We have things that we have going on in our lives, and we find ways to try to soothe that pain. And that's what you will find in Detective Shanks. He's trying to soothe that pain, and he soothes that pain through alcohol. But he still is gifted. And that's important to realize as well. Even though we're going through different things, we're still gifted, and we still have some things that we have the ability to make a difference in the world. And you will find that with Detective Shanks. He had very unique investigative skills that caused him to be able to process things in his mind. And that's how he was able to be on point with this case and with the things that were coming about in the story.
Another character, who is Cato?
Cato, another unique character as well. I tried to find someone that that would resonate and you can identify with, a person that you lean on for guidance. We have that person, we all do, that we try to help us spiritually, or if it's just a person that that is a person of wisdom. And Cato is that type of person that has been in the book, in the story, that they had to lean on for the guidance of what is going on. What are we facing here? We don't know anything about it. We're scared. We know that something strange is going on. This is not the normal behavior in that part of the city. And in this story, Carlsbad, California, you will find. And so they had to really lean on Cato's spiritual advice. Now, he's a little kooky as well. You probably saw that in the story, that he's not altogether himself. But who is? Who is?
Now, who is the killer, and why is he so powerful?
So I'm going to leave that. I think that's a trick question. I'm going to leave that for you to find out, for those who have not read. But I will say this. What's key to the killer, and why he is so powerful, is something that we need to be mindful for, even in real life. I would say that we need to always be in the place that we are aware, and not to walk in. This is one of the themes in the book, that you will find that you don't have to walk in fear, but always walk in faith. No matter what you're facing, no matter what's going on, no matter what the attack may be. Walk in faith. Even you can find that even that's really important in the times that we're living in right now with the pandemic and things that are going on, to not to live in that type of fear, but walk in the faith, and you can overcome it. And that's how they truly, and you'll find that in the story, how they truly overcame and became victorious is when they began to walk in that faith. But I'm gonna let you see who the killer is at the end. I think you tried to get me right there.
Okay, your writing process. Can you kind of take us through the process? Take us
Sure.
through that journey.
Sure. Let me tell you, this was different. This was writing this novel was so, and it was definitely out the box, and definitely when people say a labor of love, this was a labor. I'm used to writing scripts. I started out writing plays. I've written a couple of movies, haven't gotten them produced yet, and a couple of television shows as well. So it's easy for me to write those type of things in probably a 3 or 4 week time period, maybe. But with this book, it took a lot longer, in which they tell you that the time span to write a book is probably a good year, 7 months to a year. I was able to write it in probably about 6 months. It really took some dedication to do so, and time. I started because, and again, this is my very first novel. Starting off, I just began to write what I knew. For me, everybody is different. You would find from different authors and different writers, even if, as you research, because I had to research as well, that some, they write out their outlines and they begin to write from in that process. And that's just not my writing process. For me, I know where the story is going. I have those points and I have the plots where I want the story to go. But getting to those points, it's a journey for me, just like it's a journey for you as the reader. And I think that's too is a key point that makes it somewhat enjoyable and takes you on a journey, because I don't always know where I'm going with it either. I just know where I need to go, and I just write. And as I write, I allow the story to take me to that place, and that's really my writing process. But what I found out, and this is for anyone seeking to write a novel, if you don't do the outlines and if you don't do that preparation work beforehand, after about a month, you may forget what you wrote. And so it's very important. I learned after writing the first 2 chapters, and I got to like the 3rd chapter, and I was like, now what happened in the 1st chapter, and what's the timeline where we are right now? It began to be very cloudy. So I learned after that 2nd chapter to start taking notes and write the timeline of the chapter. And chapter by chapter, I took notes of the key points within that chapter, the timeline, the days to each chapter. So as I began to write and as I got further along, because as we got to 4 months and 5 months, what you wrote a month ago becomes distant, and you have to remind yourself, okay, where was the story? And so you can connect with what you wrote and be able to take it into the future of the story as well. So that's very important for anybody that's looking to write a novel. If you don't have that outline already set, is to be sure to take the notes, because it's going to take time to write. It's going to take months. And so you definitely want the timeline to be on point, and you definitely want the story to make sense, because you write one thing in one chapter and something else in another, and it does not connect, and that's important.
How do you find that voice to write, number one, and then the voice of each character?
I say to myself, I think you have to be semi off yourself to be able to write the dialogue, because you're basically having these conversations. The characters, and it has to make sense. The characters are having conversations, and the story has to be able to really connect with the audience. And so I think truly it is definitely a gift that God has given me. He's definitely the voice that guides me in all that I do. But I think the talent, being able to be gifted for what you do, makes the world of difference. And so as giving the voices to the characters, again, I kind of said it in the beginning, even if I don't, I'm each one of these characters you met somewhere in life, and they and even in my life, you can take some from this person, take something from this person, and just combine it and make it one person, and really their personalities, their voices, who they are. Just really in order to make a great character, you definitely have to be mindful of how the mind works and how people work as well, and being able to make it pop on paper. And so that's truly the voices, is knowing the talent that I have and then that God has given me, and being able to remember people and just hey, bring it out in the story as well.
I think you just answered my next question, so I'll just ask the next question.
Okay.
Okay, where does the creativity come from?
Yeah, definitely. It's the gift that God has given me. I can't, really take the credit on my own. I think it's very important to know who you are. We kind of talked about this, but learning early on in my 20s, it was very difficult. And even as I began college at the age of 18, it was very difficult knowing where my future was going. I really felt like I didn't have any type of talents. And so defining those moments and really discovering what I had the capabilities for makes the difference. And I found that creativity when I truly developed my relationship with God. And that made the difference for me, and the inspiration that I do.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about you cross the lines from science to literature, and kind of expound on that a little bit more for
Yeah,
our audience tonight.
when I started college, I was in pharmacy, and you probably didn't see it all in my bio. I was in pharmacy. I think I did do med school biology for a little while. I was trying everything because again, I was confused. But I quickly found out that science was not for me. Not that I wasn't good at it, but I didn't like it. I quickly found the escape route because I really felt that was not the life for me. And again, even as I grew older, I realized that I really would not have made it in any type of medical field. The blood and all that, I just don't deal well with that. And so, of course, I knew that was not the field for me, even as I got older. So just trying to find who I was at that time, and I believe a lot of young people deal with this as they go to college. They start out in one major and they're in it and they're like, I hate it. And it's not, you find out real quickly that it's not for you. And so I made the turn and the change very quickly. It took me some time to really find it, but the difference was definitely knowing who I was in God.
Mm-hmm. And was that a part of finding that voice as well?
Yes, definitely. That connection and that relationship with God makes the difference to really cause you to be able to be who He created you to be. I think that makes the difference, because sometimes you can be wandering out there alone, doing it all on your own, and you're trying to find yourself. But He made you. So, of course, the best place to go to find out what you have and how to really blossom in this world is definitely getting with the Creator and find out about His creation. You are His creation. And so making that connection, that makes the world of difference.
Wow. Tell us, because most of everything that we look at, experience, have, really came from a thought. To see your thought come to fruition, tell us about that experience for you.
And most definitely, I can tell you the thought. I remember I was sitting in my office, and I'll tell you the thought that came to my mind, and then even how this book came about as well too. I was sitting in my office, and then my office is on the 4th floor, and so I'm kind of up there, and I have a window, so I'm looking out the window, and I'm looking at the wind blow, and I remember a teaching as a young boy from my pastor at that time saying that Satan is like the prince of the air. And I remember thinking that as I was looking at the wind blow, and that thought came to mind. And from there is where you got whispers dancing in the dark winds, where you see those whispers coming about and moving through the winds. I remember that as a young boy, him saying that Satan is the prince of the air. He moves and he's slick as he moves throughout the earth. And so that thought came to mind, and from that thought was birthed this book, just looking out that window that day.
Wow. Audience, if you guys have any questions, put them in the comment box below, and we will try to answer. We will ask them, rather. I think I just got a question. Let me see if I can.
Came fast.
Here. Let's see here. Question. Will there be a sequel?
I think that is the golden question that everybody has been asking me who has read the book. Most definitely. I don't know how soon, but definitely there is a sequel to this book. There is a, even when I began writing it, I just knew that this was potential for a series. And so, of course, this is just the first of many. There's so many thoughts in my mind where this can go and how this will play. So if you're looking forward to another book, definitely be on the lookout because it is coming. And the series and the sequel.
Yes. I guess just the fact that you've started on, and this sounds well. The book it reads something that I believe that you would want to do like a sequel of. The fact that you've written this and it speaks to the supernatural. What exactly do you want? Is there something that you want the audience to learn? And this is coming from your preacher side.
I definitely, there's so many nuggets in here. If you really take your time, I know some people may have read it. I had one person to tell me this. They read through the book. She said, "Oh, I read it in 2 days. It was good." And then she said, "But I'm going back because there were so many things to pick up on that's really not maybe on the surface." And I definitely, overall, I gave you the scripture. I want people to really realize that the fight that we're facing is not just physical. Of course, even in real life, I think all the time, so many times we're trying to fight our battles, and that's what Detective Shanks was doing in the beginning. He was trying to solve the case. That was his goal. He was in the physical, not realizing there was a spiritual side to it. And I think we need to be mindful, for any believers out there, be mindful even when you are facing different things and when you're coming across different scenarios in your life, to always remember, yes, we do have to fight in the physical and face things head on. There's times that we need to speak. There's some times that we need to be quiet. There's some times that we need to definitely step in the ring and be present. But most of all, even in those cases, you definitely need to be prayed up, and you definitely need to be realize that the fight that you're in is definitely spiritual, and always seek that as well, and don't just be on one side of the scope and just fight it with the physical. But there's a supernatural at work and at play in our lives, and you have to be mindful of that. And that's what I definitely want people to get from the book as they read it. And there's different ways, and if you pick up, and that's what I mean by those nuggets, how to fight those spiritual and those supernatural things that come and that is play. It's in the book as well.
Will you share with us one of those? What is, I guess, one of the important nuggets that you want us to really take?
Sure. I'll share one. Of course, definitely the power of the tongue. You will find in the book that they begin to speak to the supernatural, and it begin to change things. The Bible tells us that we have power of life and death in our tongue. And so that's one of the things that you will pick up on as they begin to speak. I love that I attend Praise Temple. My pastor has been speaking this year as the year of the spoken wonders. And so recognizing the power that you have in your tongue and begin to speak to your circumstances is very important. And that's what you will find even as they begin to fight within this book, is that as they begin to speak to different things in different scenarios, it changed things. It allowed them to be more victorious, if you would. So that's one of the nuggets that you would definitely find in the book, is definitely know how to use and be aware that you have power in your mouth. Speak your next level. Speak your increase. Speak your overflow, and denounce anything of it.
Wow. We've got a couple of other questions. Another question is, do you get the feeling of being overwhelmed when you take on this responsibility to write a book? And how do you overcome it?
Very much so. I think something to it being at this point in my life, I remember, and we talked about this briefly, as a young adult, being 18, at that point, I was thinking I had no talents. Finding that connection with God, it was like it opened the door. It was like, okay, you thought you had no talents. Let me show you. You have all of these that I have gifted you with. And so I think even after finding those talents, now it comes to the point of having to try to juggle all of the talents. And I'm sure many of you can relate to that. Juggle so many things in your life, whether it's work, church, family. If you have kids, it can be overwhelming. And so taking on this task was just another, if you would, labor to what I already had. I already had my executive pastor position. I already had, I'm the assistant director of financial aid at a university. And so I already had, I'm working on television series and things like that. And so taking on this venture was another task. And so, again, being prayerful. And I learned this recently, and which was a very great wisdom nugget from Bishop T.D. Jakes, which was, if you're not sure what talent to do, because I struggled with that. I didn't know whether to write the play first or write the movie or write this book. Because again, I felt like I could write a novel back in my 20s, but I just did it just now. But I thought what he said was very powerful. If you don't know what to do first, try them all. And I'm like, who has time for that? But of course,
Mario, we seem to have lost your audio. If you can hit your audio again, we'll be able to hear you. I think he's working on it, everybody. There we go.
Can
I
you hear
think you
me?
got it.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go.
Okay. Oh, did you lose my volume?
Yes, we
Oh,
lost volume.
okay. I don't.
You can go back and
Maybe
tell
lose
us about what Bishop T.D. Jakes was telling you to try all of them.
But yeah,
That
yeah.
was
I'm like,
interesting.
yeah, that was one of his teachers. Okay, so y'all was lost on one of the good parts, huh? Yeah, to
Yeah.
try all of them, and it was like, who has time for all that? And but I think it was a very important lesson to learn, as I heard him say it, because it was a thought. I was like, well, should I have tried this earlier? But of course, it can be quite overwhelming. But I began to think about once I'm done with this, then of course pick up the movies, pick up something else. Don't just become stagnant with one thing. When you've been gifted with so many things, try them all and go for it. Take it one step at a time, of course, and try to definitely take care of yourself, but don't become stagnant with all that God has given you.
All right. You've completed, I've got another question.
Mhm.
You've completed the book. Now, in retrospect, is there something that you look back now and wish that you could have included?
There is because I was going to do so many things that I would have included in the book. I was trying not to make it very, very long, but as I get remarks from it, so many people found it so enjoyable that they kept reading. They loved reading it, and I kind of wish that I would have included those things now. But there's the next book, so I definitely, and that was my thought process even as I was came to the conclusion of the book. But of course, yeah, I looking back and hearing people's response to it, I think I did not want to bore you with too many of the details, but I think so many people were wanting some of those details. So it was good to hear that type of feedback, to make sure I do include that even in the next book, because I definitely wanted to stay true to the story and stay true to the plot without losing you. But just it was just overwhelming to know, and so humbling and just grateful that so many people enjoyed and received 5 stars from, I don't know if you know, but received 5 stars from readers' favorite, as far as a book review. So just to get that type of response, it's been great.
I think someone also have asked, how did you get over that feeling of being overwhelmed?
Definitely through prayer, and sometimes you definitely have to know when it is too much and how to take each things one step at a time. If you're feeling overwhelmed, I think it's very important to know, and I'd say prayer. I don't mean that to be a cliche or to just think it's just that simple, but really knowing when so much is pulling on you, it can be quite draining. And so for me, my way of definitely being strengthened is keeping that connection with God. And you hear that scripture so many times. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. You hear that scripture, but it's impossible to do all things through Christ if you're not really walking with him, if you're not really connecting with him. You cannot do it through him if you're not having that connection. And so being able to do all things, especially everything that may be on the plate, you definitely have to have that connection, because everything else is pulling, is draining. But to be strengthened and to be filled and to really be restored and to feel empowered to complete everything, keep that connection. Keep that prayer life going. Keep that praise. I'm a praiser and I'm a worshiper as well. Keep that worship going. It makes the world a difference. His presence does.
Yes. I guess for some other writers out there, um, some of the hurdles that you had to overcome. Speak a little bit about that and let them know that that's part of the process.
Right. Again, that first hurdle, definitely keeping those notes. That was a major thing that you want to definitely be aware of. Being dedicated, you definitely, because as you get halfway through the project, especially when it comes to writing a novel, um, you get the feeling like, oh, when will I get to the end? I'm so ready to be done. And that's with anything. I'm so ready to be done. I'm ready for this to be over. But stick with it. Stick with the process. You're gonna get to those points. What I kept at the forefront is that there's a prize at the end. And that's with anything that you do. The prize in knowing that you completed something and something is finished, is just a joy that's undescribable. So keep that at the forefront. Keep that in your mind that if you keep going, you're going to get to the end and you're going to be able to reap the benefits of your labor. And so don't stop, don't quit. Stay with it, and it will pay off in the end. So that's another hurdle as well. Um, keep in mind the the purpose of your story and what you're doing. That keeps you going as well. I knew why I was writing the story. I knew what was the purpose, and so it made it very easy for me to get through the process. And I have not experienced yet any type of writer's block. Some people get that, and I'm sure that may come with time. But of course, as you keep the purpose and why you're doing what you're doing at the forefront, you can get through even that. I believe that's what kept the story going for me.
Well, Pastor, give us one more thing. What was your why?
I wanted people. That's good. I like it. I wanted people to really. I'm gonna say this. One of the reasons that I believe my call, even in the entertainment industry, as it relates to movies, as it relates to um, plays, and even this book. This is teaching methods as well. Some nuggets I talked about. There's nuggets from the books, but also I just believe that we should enjoy life. I believe that is very important. God gave us laughter for a reason. God gave us the ability to have this world and to enjoy the fruits thereof. And so that is one of the major reasons why I do what I do. I want people to enjoy life. I want people to enjoy reading. I'll be honest with you. I read a lot, but the last novel I read was probably years. This is the first novel I probably read in years. And so to get that joy of reading again, and to find out that people who don't read novels actually picked up the book and got through the book in a matter of days, that was rewarding as well, because that was another reason why I wanted people to enjoy reading again and just to get into the love of it. We tend to, because I am a TV watcher as well, movie lover as well. We tend to get our stories from there, but that's not as if you would, a muscle builder for the mind as much as reading is. And so be able to take stories that we watch on TV and have it in a book and be able to read it and enjoy the story, as well as having something that is really developing the mind, because reading develops the mind. It's a muscle builder. That's what I call it. And so, of course, to have that was very important to me. I wanted people to enjoy reading again.
How does the novel writing process differ from writing plays and movies, and which do you prefer?
Ooh, it is a big difference. Oh my gosh! I said it in the beginning that I had to learn really quickly Again, I write scripts in about 3 or 4 weeks, but writing this book took months. And it was like, oh my gosh, will I ever get to the end? I thought I was going to do it in 3 months, but I was sadly mistaken. I would say, oh, I'm going to write this book, get it done in about 3 months. But after 3 months, it was like, okay, it's not going to happen in 3 months. That's one of the biggest difference. And that was even, I think starting out, I was dedicating every day. I would say a good 20 hours a week, just I was dedicating to writing. And so even with that, it was like, I'm not going to make that 3-month deadline. So I'm going to have to back and really take my time with the story. So that was the major difference, the time frame, being able to be descriptive as well and really paint the picture for you in the story is a big difference in writing plays and movies and scripts as well, because with the scripts, it's the job of the actor to paint the picture for you. But with the book, I had to use my words to paint the picture for you. And so that was a major difference as well, that time frame and having to change my words as well. Because I'm used to being on the stage myself, and hey, if you need to know how to feel, then I'm gonna show it through my actions. But I had to write the words this time, and that was a major change.
We have some aspiring writers out there who are wanting to know if you're planning a writing workshop.
I never thought about that, so I would keep that. I changed. I take that back. I did, because I did write a lot of scripts and plays. So I did say eventually that I would open up to share my writing processes as well to writing those. But definitely, yes, I would say yes. Eventually, one day there will be writers workshop.
Okay.
I'm glad to know that someone is interested in coming.
Yes, I've got a couple other questions for you from our audience. What are you doing to try to get this book to Oprah Winfrey?
Oh, can you get it to her?
Or in the hands of anybody in Hollywood for it to become a movie?
Yes, that is the goal. So pray with me in that area. Definitely. And I believe it. I spoke in the book about decreeing and declaring with your mouth. And that's what I'm saying, that one day you're going to see it on screen. You're going to see it.
I was about to say, we're going to put that out there.
Yes. Somebody's going to pick it up. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yes. Well, do you plan to make this into a movie? Do you plan to make it into a movie?
Definitely. I definitely want, I heard different takes on it. Some say I want to see the television series. So I don't know yet, will it be the television series or will it be the movie? But definitely in some form or fashion, it's going to happen.
Well, now, some movies have had a spinoff into a television series. So
well, there you go. We have both. That's a good point.
Well, pastor, or should we call you pastor, or author, actor, director, producer, what else can we expect from Mario Tyson? That name sounds like a movie producer.
That's it. Put it in the atmosphere. Definitely. All of that, what you just said, the reason that I even, you see that in the bio is that because I believe it wholeheartedly, you're going to see that in the future. All of that from me as it relates to ministry, preaching. I believe that's my goal. My calling is to be able to minister through the Word of God, not just in the pulpit, but outside of the pulpit as well, through the television screen and through the movie screens, and even in writings as well. And so definitely expect to see more of it. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to get through this first one. And I'm excited about the future because I know that it holds all of that, even on a grander scale. And I only speak that because I know the God I serve. He's able.
One other thing I want you to do, I want you to sort of whet our appetites for the book. If you can sort of read us, I guess, one of your favorite sections or chapters or a passage? We just want to hear just a little bit.
You got me on that one. Let's see.
And audience, if you have any other questions, get them in to us and we will try to get them in right before we wrap everything up. This has been so enjoyable. Go ahead and read for us.
Sure, sure. I just read that first opening paragraph because I definitely enjoyed even that first. And one of the things that I'll let people that have not read it to really be aware, but people really connected with that first character, Coco. And so the ending of the first chapter was very surprising for most. I've heard from many, but I just read that first couple of paragraphs because I just like the way that the book opened up. It says, for Coco, the rain was an endless symphony of despair. She stared out of her bedroom window, watching the storm play its song. Seconds turned into minutes, minutes into hours, and hours into days. It had been just 4 days since the symphony began its opening sonata, but it seemed like a lifetime to her, akin to spending 4 days in a dusty, damp, solitary confinement cell in a maximum security prison facility. How she longed to be free. She craved the feeling of warm sunbeams beating against her honey golden skin. And I just like that opening line because it was amazing for this character to realize just 4 days she was already in a place that she was just about to go crazy, just unbearable. And because she's from the beach, and so rain was very hard for her, and to be stuck in the house, she longed for the beach. And I connect with that character in that way. I'm longing for the beach right now. The pandemic has been in me and my wife's way. We're ready to get to the beach again, and so of course, I feel like I'm in a maximum security facility right now. We're ready to be free. We're going to get there. I believe it.
Now, tell us a little bit more about the character Coco. How old is she? What is her background? What are some of her experiences?
Sure. Coco is a young adult. She's a wealthy, as you see in the book, she's a wealthy heiress who's lived her life on the beach, enjoying life, and as you saw in the story, she enjoyed men as well. This was who she was, and of course, that was really her downfall, if you would, and what she faced within this story. Trying to break free and trying to enjoy the life that she knew prior to the storm that took place, in which that storm definitely represented the attack that was coming as well. And that's what you find also in the beginning of the story, just to point that out as well. But of course, she was a person, she's a person that just loved life. And she was lived her life just enjoying it. And of course, that was abrupted was by the occurrence, if you would, that came about. And so that's Coco. She carefree, living her life on the beach.
Well, now, what are you working on now?
Say it again.
What are you working on now?
I am working on. I do have a television series. I'm definitely working to get that into production as well. Almost got into production last year. A unique television series, and faced some things. And I realized it was very important that I'm glad it didn't come into play like right now because of COVID. We would have been halted with production. And so, of course, I'm looking forward for that television series. I think it really resonates with the the Black Lives Matter movement. So it's a very unique story to help us to really understand the culture. And I'm really looking forward to, because I really think it's needed. It's needed to be showcased in our world, to really tell the story of what us as a Black community, what we're facing. And so I'm looking forward, and hopefully I can get connected with someone as well to really get that into the airwaves.
And what can we expect from that particular production?
We can expect the same thing that you're expecting, that you've seen within the book. I think everyone that's even read the I even had it not the word appraised, if you would, by a professional, read that script, and he really was overjoyed by the content. So I think, just like you connected with Detective Shanks within this story, I think you're going to connect really well from this production with those characters, with the plot, and with the story. I think it's definitely going to be one of those things that you're going to be waiting week to week. When is the next episode coming on? Because I need to know what happened. And so at the same time, we're definitely going to speak to the culture. So you can definitely expect that from this production.
Wonderful. Well, everybody, we're going to get ready to wrap this thing up. If there are any more questions out there, put them in the comment box. Mr. Mario, can you tell us where we can find your book, and what venues to where we can buy the book?
Sure. You can find the book at DemarioTysonExperience.com. That will get you to the all the other places. So there's just it's on Amazon.com, and it's also you can go online to BarnesandNoble.com and order it from there as well. So Barnes and Noble, also Amazon. But if you want a simple place, because right now if you go to the website, you're able to get a signed copy. We're not able to do a book tour right now and go out and do book signing because of the pandemic. And so we created a way that you can still get that personalized. It's my signature signed copy, and we'll mail it out to you. So if you just go to DemarioTysonExperience.com, you can get your copy, and get your copy for someone else that you want to be a blessing to as well. Thank you for all that have supported. Continue to spread the word about the book. If you enjoyed it, go to goodreads.com and write a review. Got many reviews already. Go to Amazon.com and write a review as well. That will help me as well to really get this book out there. And I thank you for your support so far. Just overwhelming, and it's just been great.
Any last minute things to take us out of here?
Stay humble, stay encouraged, and stay rooted in the Word of God. You can do all things through Him. Go for it. Don't think that you don't have the capabilities. Step out of the boat, have faith, and all things are possible through Him. So go for what God has called you to do. It is possible. Thank you for tuning in today.
We thank you guys for joining us here with Shreve Memorial Library Author Chat. Of course, we're going to be doing this every first Thursday of the month. We're going to be inviting all of our local authors. We want to appreciate your work. If you know a local author who has got a great book, something that the community can really benefit from, send that author to us. Let us know, and we will get that author on to experience their work. Mario, we are so excited that you took the time to be with us this evening. Hopefully, we will be able to find your book in Shreve Memorial Library.
Yes.
Yes, wonderful. Well, we thank you guys for joining us this evening, and hopefully that you were blessed by what you have just heard, and hopefully you'll go out, get the book, and read it. We thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.